Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, welcome. I am Fakhr Zaman. In today's lecture, we will discuss unit number 8, Communication and Visual Aids, course code 8415. In this unit, we will discuss graphics and visual aids. In graphics and visual aids, we will discuss using graphics and visual aids and developing graphics. In presentations and meetings, we will discuss oral presentations, visual aids in presentations, and effective meetings. First of all, I'm going to talk about using graphics and visual aids. Here, first, we should know what is graphic and visual aid. The meaning of the terms graphic and visual aid overlap in general usage. A visual aid is any object, picture, drawing, map, poster, chart, or other image that helps the audience or reader understand data or concepts. A visual aid should provide an image that stimulates thought and interest. The term graphic is more narrow in scope. A graphic can be an efficient means of presenting large amount of data. Communications are using more visual aids than in the past. For these reasons, audiences expect messages to be delivered in clear, easy to understand, and visually stimulating ways. For example, few people return to an internet site that contains only text. Magazines that have no photographs are not very popular. Creating and using visual aids is easier than ever before. Several software programs include features that allow you to create colorful, easy to understand graphics. These programs also allow you to insert visual aids into reports and letters or to use them in electronic slides. Communicators improve their chances of keeping the audience attention when they use graphics and other visual aids. Dear students, now moving to the use of visual aids in documents. When you use visual aids in documents, you should identify them and place them in an appropriate location. Doing so will ensure that the reader gains as much benefit from them as possible. Placing visual aids. A visual aid such as a chart or photo can be placed in the body of a document. Graphics such as tables or charts are sometimes placed in an appendix. However, if the graphic is not important enough to be placed in the body of a document, it may not be important enough to be included at all. Place a visual aid in a document where the reader would prefer and most benefit from its placement. When a visual aid relates to a major point being presented, place it in a body of the document. If the purpose of a table or chart is to provide details that only some readers would need, place it in an appendix. When you place a graphic within a document, include a reference to the graphic before the graphic appears. The next is identifying visual aids. When several graphics or other visual aids are placed in a document, A numbering system is needed to identify each one, giving each graphic a little helps readers understand the image. When the image or data used to create an image comes from another source, a source line is used. The source line tells where the data came from and gives credit to the creator or owner of the data. Next is numbering system. When a document has only one graphic, no numbering system is needed. When a document has more than one graphic, a numbering system is necessary. Choose a numbering system and be consistent with the format throughout the document. For example, you may choose to identify all graphics and number them throughout. Another option is to use two designations. You might use the term table for graphics that are in table format and the term figure for graphics that are charts. The next is titles for visual aids. A title should briefly describe a graphic. The title should contain enough information for the reader to understand the graphic aid without having to read an explanation in the text. However, the title should not be too long. The title may be shown in all uppercase letters or in uppercase and lowercase letters. The title may also be in bold letters. Be consistent throughout the document in whatever format you choose for titles. Next is source line. Source lines, when you have created the data and graphic, you are the original source. You do not need to include a source line. Whenever you obtain material from another source, you must include a source line. The line includes the word source followed by a colon and the source of the data or graphic. The next topic in graphics and visual aids is choosing the correct visual aids. Table, organization charts, flowcharts, pie charts, line charts, bar charts, column charts, maps, photographs, and drawings. To choose the most appropriate graphic or visual aid, you must identify what you want your receiver to understand. You must identify an objective and choose a graphic or other visual aid that is best suited for the purpose. So first we talk about tables. Tables show exact figures or present detailed information in an organized, easy to follow format. Organization charts. Organization charts shows lines of authority and relationships among employees or job positions. Flowcharts. Flowcharts illustrate the steps in a procedure or process. Different shapes are used in indicate types of activities in some charts. Pie charts. Pie charts show how the parts of a whole are distributed. Line charts. Line charts show changes in amounts over time. Bar charts. Bar charts show a comparison of amounts. Bars extend from left to right in a bar chart. Items or categories being compared are placed on the vertical axis. Values are placed on the horizontal axis. Column Charts. Column charts show a comparison of amounts. Columns extend vertically from bottom to top in a column chart. Items or categories being compared are placed on the horizontal axis. Values are placed on the vertical axis. Some programs and documents call both bar and column charts bar charts. Maps show geographic regions such as cities, states, or countries. Photographs also called pictures show a realistic view of an item, person, or place. Using a digital camera provide photographs in electronic format that can easily be placed in documents. Last one is drawings. Drawings are clip art or line art images that add interest or show specific details of an object. The next topic is developing graphics. Creating graphics electronically. Computer programs allow users to create and edit professional looking graphics. The programs are easy to use and can be learned quickly. The next is tables. A table is an arrangement of data organized in rows and columns. Rows extend horizontally across the table. Columns extend vertically. Tables are a valuable visual aid in reports and other documents because they show data in a way that is easy to understand. Tables can created in word processing or spreadsheet programs. Formats for tables vary. Use a format that makes the data easy to read and understand. Some general guidelines for creating an effective table are: number tables. If more than one table appears in report, for example, key table 1 above the table title. Use a title for the table that is clear and concise. Key the title in bold, all capital letters, and center it over the table. Use column headings to label the columns, center the headings over the columns, or match the alignment of the text or numbers in the columns. Align columns of text at the left, align columns of numbers at the right or at the decimal point if the numbers have decimals. Place a single line, also called a rule, under the last number when two or more numbers are calculated. Place a double rule under numbers that are totals or final amounts. Include a source note for tables to show the source of the data. If the data are your original numbers, a source note is not needed. Dear students, next is charts. In business documents, several types of charts are commonly used. Organization charts and flow charts are often included in company manuals. Pie charts, line charts, and bar charts are used in reports, memos, and oral presentation. So here we should know what is organizational charts. An organization chart shows the relationships of employees, positions, and departments. It shows lines of authority and communication in a company. The chart can show the entire company or only one section or department. The next is flow charts. A flowchart is a step-by-step diagram of a procedure or process. The flowchart allows the user to see the order in which the steps must be completed. For example, suppose a new procedure is described in 8 paragraphs of text. Reading a flowchart that shows each step of procedure would help employees follow the steps. Tables and charts can be presented in either portrait or landscape orientation. In portrait orientation, the short edge of the image is at the top. Letters and memos are created using portrait orientation. In landscape orientation, the long edge of the image is at the top. Wide tables and advertising flies are often created using landscape orientation. Next is pie chart. Pie chart shows how the parts of a whole are described and how parts relate to one another. A pie chart is suitable for displaying data when there are a small number of parts. When you make a pie chart, arrange the data in some logical order. You could arrange sales percentages by region numbers. This method would be a good way to show data if you also have a pie chart that shows earning by region. The arrangement would make it easy to compare data from the two charts. You might place the data and pie section in order from largest to smallest. This order would be good for looking at attendance records for seminars given during 1 year. The next is line charts. Line charts shows changes in quantity or value over time. This type of chart is often used to show ups and downs or trends over a period of time. In charts that show trends, the category horizontal axis is used to show the time or quantity measured, and the value vertical axis is used to show amounts. A single line chart shows the movement of only one quantity or value over time. Shading or coloring may be used to add emphasis to the single line chart. The type of chart is also called an area chart. The next is bar and column charts. Bar charts and column charts are used to compare different groups of data to each other through the use of bars and columns that represent each group. The length of the bars and columns relate directly to their value. In a bar chart, bar extend from left to right. Items or categories being compared are placed on the vertical axis. In a column chart, columns extend vertically from the bottom to the top of the chart. Items or categories being compared are placed on the horizontal axis. Some programs and documents call both bar and column charts bar charts or bar graphs. Dear students, now we are discussing the other visual aids. Maps. First we should explain maps. A map shows geographic relationships. A map is especially useful when your audience may not be familiar with the geographic areas being discussed. The next is photographs. A photograph is used to provide a realistic view of a specific item or place. Photographs can make a document more appealing to read. Four sources of easy access to photographs are a digital camera, professional photograph collections available on CD-ROM, a scanner, and the World Wide Web. Next is drawings. A drawing is useful for showing details or a procedure. Makers of bicycle, for example, provide consumers with detailed drawings. These drawings assist consumers in putting the bicycles together. A photograph of the assembled bicycle would not provide enough detail. Consumers would not be able to tell how to put the bicycle together properly. Dear students, now moving to the next topic in presentations and meetings, oral presentations. Oral communication is a common business activity. The types of oral presentations you give will depend on your job position. If you supervise others, you may conduct training programs. If you work in a human resources department, you may conduct new employee orientation programs. If you become a high level executive, you may uh, make presentations to the board of directors, stakeholders, media, and civic organizations. Most oral presentations are simple, straightforward, and short, 15 minutes or less. Typical short speeches are introductions and briefings. They should begin with an opening that creates interest and prepares the audience for what will follow. Then they should provide details in the body and summarize the main points in the closing if needed. Short oral presentations. Introducing speakers. Obtain information about speakers. Introduce speakers and their presentations. Briefings. So first we should talk about introducing speakers. When planning an introduction of speaker, determine if you should follow a specific format. Many organizations provide guidelines for introductions to keep them short and uniform. Second one is obtain information about speakers. Often you will be given a resume or other information about the speaker. If possible, find out what the speaker would like you to mention. Your purpose is to prepare the audience to accept the speaker and the speech. Too much information causes restlessness in the audience. Next is introduce speakers and their presentations. When introducing a speaker, mention information about the speaker along with the speaker's name. State the title of the presentation and tell what the speech is about. If that is not obvious from the title, provide information that the audience can relate to and that will create interest in the speech. When giving an overview, don't give too many details that will take away from the speech. The last one is briefings. A briefings is a short presentation given to bring people up to date on business activities, projects, programs, or procedures. Briefings are usually given at a meeting or a conference because briefings are short, highlight key points, and provide a few details to support each point. Now, moving to the formal oral presentation. Preparing formal oral presentations is challenging. A formal speech may last from 20 minutes to more than an hour. It may require that you don't research to find the content you need to present. You may need to prepare visual aids to help the audience understand the points you wish to make. You should think about questions the audience members may have and how you will answer them. Planning the presentation. Planning an oral presentation is like planning a written report. Oral presentations have an introduction, a body, and a closing. They may include visual aids such as tables, charts, graphs, and photos. These steps are involved in preparing for a formal presentation are determine the objective of your speech, analyze the audience, determine the time available for the speech, gather information for the speech, and determine the appropriate mode of delivery. So first we should talk about determine the objective. What do you want to communicate to an audience? Answering this question will help you determine the objective or purpose of your presentation. Generally, the objective for a work-related speech will be to persuade or inform. The second is analyze the audience. Analyze the expected audience in terms of size, number of people, knowledge level, age, gender, culture, and needs. The next is determine time available. Speakers often are given a specific amount of time to speak. You need to determine how much of this time to spend on different parts of the speech. For example, suppose you have 30 minutes in which to make a presentation. You might decide to spend 3 to 5 minutes on opening remarks and 15 to 20 minutes to develop the main points. You might allow 5 to 10 minutes for conclusions or a summary and questions. Dear students, to make sure you stay within the appropriate time frame, practice your presentation several times, noting its length. The next is gather information. Information for an oral presentation is gathered in much the same way as data for a formal written report. Two sources of data are available, primary sources and secondary sources. The next is determine mode of delivery. Talking from notes is the most effective way of delivery. Using this method, you prepare an outline of notes and use them as a reference while talking. Dear students, now moving to the next topic in presentations and meetings is organizing the presentation. All presentations, formal and informal, should have three main parts: an introduction, a body, and a closing. The next is delivery of oral presentations. Delivery of a presentation is as important as content. The better your delivery, the greater the chance that you will achieve the objective of your presentation. Voice qualities, nonverbal symbols, and visual aids can enhance or inhibit delivery. Feedback can let you know if your audience understands and accepts your message. The delivery of oral presentations contains voice quality, nonverbal symbols, eye contact and facial expressions, gestures and posture, visual aids, and feedback. Dear students, the next topic is visual aids in presentations. Effective use of visual aids can make speakers appear better prepared and more credible than speakers who did not use visuals. To determine whether you need visual aids in a presentation, consider these three questions. Will visual aids help clarify the message? Will visual aids add interest to the presentation? Will visual aids help the audience remember what was said? Visual aids can be displayed using posters, flip charts, transparencies, slides, film or electronic whiteboards, and other means. Dear students, the next is choosing appropriate visual aids. When planning a presentation, you must decide which visual aids would be the best choice. Equipment available, audience needs, and presentation time are factors you should consider. So first we should talk about equipment available. Equipment available. Consider the equipment you have available where you will be making your presentation. Some options such as electronic slides or an electronic whiteboard require that you have access to special equipment. If you are using posters, you will need an easel or display board. Before you make your visual aids, check that everything you will need is available. Second is audience needs. Consider the options that will be best in helping your audience understand and remember your message. You might prefer to use a chalkboard to display notes. However, if some other option would help your audience understand and remember your message, then use the more appropriate visual aid. The next is preparation time. Determine how much time you have to prepare your visual aids. Time can be a limiting factor. If you have little time to prepare, writing key points on a whiteboard as you speak may be your only option. However, if you have the time, you may want to prepare transparencies or electronic slides. The next is preparing visual aids. You should use enough visual aids to keep the audience attention, but not so many that the audience is overwhelmed. For most cases, visual aids other than handouts should simple and brief. Detailed and complex visual aids that are displayed on a screen will be hard for the audience to understand. Visual aids should be concise, easy to read, and interesting. Dear students, when preparing visual aids, you should be focused on number of visual aids and size, color, motion, and sound. Next is presenting your visual aids. Following some simple guidelines will help you be effective as you use visual aids during your presentation. You want the visual aids to enhance your speech, not be a distraction for listeners. You need to practice with your visual aids until you can use them smoothly. First, we should talk about prevent distractions. Know when to reveal your visual aids or their content. Revealing the content too soon can distract listeners. For example, if you place a poster on an easel at the beginning of your presentation but don't use the poster until after the introduction, some audience members may become distracted by the poster during your introduction. A better approach is to use a blank poster board to cover the poster. Remove the blank poster board when you are ready to display the one behind it. A visual aid also can become a distraction when you display all of the points on it before you are ready to talk about them. For example, if a slide has three bulleted points that make up the outline of your presentation, do not display all the points as you begin talking about the first point. Because all 3 points are visible, some audience members will begin looking ahead to see what comes next. Instead of revealing all 3 points at once, reveal only the first point. Reveal each remaining points as you talk about it. In a computer presentation, set the animation so that your bulleted points come in one at a time. If using a transparency, use a sheet of paper to cover part of the page. Next is practice using visual aids. You need to have a dress rehearsal for a speech, particularly if you are using visual aids. Go to the room where you will speak. If possible, practice your speech using your visual aids. Dear students, make sure you know how to turn all equipment on and off, to focus the image and to position equipment so everyone in the room can see the visual aids. अजीज तलबा तलबात, अभी हम बात कर रहे थे प्रेजेंटिंग योर विजुअल एड्स के हवाले से। अब हम बढ़ते हैं नेक्स्ट टॉपिक की जानिब, जो कि प्रेजेंटेशंस एंड मीटिंग्स में हम पढ़ रहे हैं इफेक्टिव मीटिंग्स। तो इसमें हम सबसे पहले पढ़ेंगे पार्टिसिपेशन इन मीटिंग्स के हवाले से। यू शुड शो interest and take an active part in meetings you attend for work. Be aware that your conduct in meetings, what you do, what you say, and how you say it, sends a message about your attitudes, abilities, and competence. Dear students, in participation in meetings, you should focus on prepare to take part, arrive on time, improve decision making, and make a positive impact. The next is organize productive meetings. When considering holding a meeting, determine whether a meeting is the best way to accomplish your goals. When a meeting is needed, you can help make it productive by defining the objective, determining the type of meeting to hold, choosing participants carefully and taking care of related details. Dear students, if you want to organize productive meetings, you should focus on define the objective, determine the type of meeting, to inform, to develop new ideas, to make decisions, to delegate work, to collaborate, to persuade, choose, participate carefully, handle meeting details, schedule for convenience, create an agenda, select an appropriate site, arrange the furniture, secure equipment and supplies, and provide the comfort. The last topic in presentations and meetings is lead meetings effectively. How a leader conducts a meeting has a great deal to do with how successful the meeting will be. The leader should begin the meeting on time. If some participants don't know each other, the leader should introduce them or ask people to introduce themselves to the group. The leader should state the objective of the meeting and the task to be accomplished. First, we should talk about use the agenda. Use the agenda to ensure that topics are discussed in order and within the time allotted. As each agenda item is dispensed with summarized points of agreement and disagreement. The second is encourage participation. Encourage people to share their thoughts. If a discussion is slow getting started, try posing an open-ended question, one that requires more than a simple yes or no answer. For example, you might ask, what sorts of changes can we make to our basic shop operations to reduce pollution? Dear students, make sure that ideas are communicated clearly and that everyone understands them. Next is handle difficult people. Handling difficult people is the greatest challenge any meeting leader faces. Sometimes a person is being difficult because he or she is unable to express concern. This person may think the group has not understood or considered the concern adequately. If you think a difficult person has a legitimate concern, ask questions to try to identify the problem. Be respectful, listen actively, and keep an open mind. If the behavior persists, keep your composure. Don't respond to the person's arguments point for point. As one consultant suggests, act rather than react. Keep your remarks brief and focus on the issue or areas of agreement rather than on personalities. A good strategy is to use the agenda or a technical point to move the discussion to another topic. The next is be professional. The leader sets the tone for the meeting through fairness, work ethic, and control. The steps shows your ability as a leader are recognize everyone's contributions. Participants who believe that their insights are valued will continue to contribute. Even if a proposal has problems, focus on the positive aspects and lead the group forward. Maintain high standards. Don't accept poor work or opinions that are stated as facts. When participants don't have information the group needs, postpone the meeting if possible. Maintain orders. Make sure the meeting follows the agenda, allow only one person to speak at a time, and discourage private conversation. The last one is end appropriately. At the end of the meeting, summarize what has been covered and move the group ahead to future action. List items that need further consideration, review assignments and deadlines for future work. If the group must meet again, explain that you will communicate with everyone soon regarding the date and time. Finally, thanks participants for their time and efforts. Dear students, thank you very much. In today's lecture, we talked about communication and visual aids in unit number 8, course code 8415. Thanks for all of you. Now we will meet in next lectures. Till then, Allah